Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cubism. I'm Aaron.
I'm Drew.
And we're back this week talking about...
An exciting set.
We're back this week with a short episode. Well, Battlebond. So I guess Battlebond's our new conspiracy this year?
Yeah. It's a multiplayer-focused format, two-headed giant.
Yeah, so Battlebond, I guess lately Wizards have been releasing these conspiracy-esque sets. I'm trying to think of one that wasn't conspiracy. What sets like conspiracy? That focus on these multiplayer draft formats, which are pretty neat, and every now and then give us such winners as Dackfaden.
Or True Nemesis.
Or no, that was Commander.
That was Commander?
Commander. Dackfaden. And other cards like Dackfaden that I'm completely forgetting.
That might have only been Dackfaden.
Well, you know. So, Battlebond is a two-headed giant draft format, which I've learned because I had to schedule an event for it. You draft as a team, and you draft 2 cards per pack, drafting 4 packs. That's zany. I haven't heard of that since the Dark Ages.
You gonna try it?
No. I'm gonna host it though, and it's gonna be hopefully great. So, it being a multiplayer-focused set. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Draft Matters cards this time like we did with Conspiracy. We got the having a teammate matters cards. So we get mechanics like Assist, that lets your teammate help you cast spells. And
Partner.
friend or foe. So like for each friend gets X effect, each foe gets Y effect. And then Partner, which are cards that are independently two card names that when you play one, you or another teammate can search for the other one. So it's really, really cool because, if I can play the red one, you go tutor for the blue one. It's 3 card advantage. Unfortunately, none of it means that much in the world of Cube. But that doesn't mean there isn't a couple gems. Or you have a Zany Cube.
Yeah, Zany Cube.
You could have an Assist Cube. You can do this draft as a team, 2 picks per pack. Who knows? In the very boring traditional cubes, it's got a short list. At the top of this list, probably the coolest card in the set, with a amazing... the grandma-looking haircut. It's green. Orange, sorry.
Very orange.
Anyway, the Redirector. So very a la Academy Rector, obviously. Instead of fetching a enchantment, you get a Planeswalker. So it's... quickly I'll go over it. 3 and a white, 1/2 human cleric. When a Redirector dies, you may exile it. If you do, search your library for a Planeswalker card and put it onto the battlefield. Shuffle your library.
One might say that there's more viable planeswalkers to find than enchantments. Yeah,
I think I definitely think that a Redirector, if you're going to play this or that in the world of Cube, that's in a world with so many playable planeswalkers. A Redirector, obviously, the more targets you play, the better this card gets.
I think if you play a lot of 3 casting cost ones, though, it might not be the best card to have around. You obviously want to be a record your Nicol Bolas's.
You want Nicol Biko, Ugins, and Karns. Like we're talking about all whammies, all points. No whammies. Whatever the term is. Big guys. So Director is an interesting card. I know both Drew and I are the fun police, so we try to minimize the amount of planeswalkers you play in our cube, limiting it to about 2 per color, with the some amount of colorless and multicolored ones. So, I guess, we mentioned Nicol Bolas. So let's say we were playing both Nicol Bolas, Karn, and Ugin. What are the other planeswalkers that you want to...
probably.
Elspeth Sun's Champion.
That one specifically.
So you want to either have the big payoff of the big expensive planeswalkers, or just have a Super Friends deck where this card is kind of gets whatever tool you need. So this card's pretty great. If you don't limit yourself to planeswalkers like Drew and I do, then there are literally a million playable ones. And this card's pretty sweet. It might not be the most optimal. It is a format of 1/2. It has to die. There's a couple things you have to kind of jump through.
If your opponent's not attacking, it might never die.
But the card's cool. The card's really fun at the end of the day. I don't see myself foresee myself playing it right away. But I know if you do and you want to get a full version, to get it as soon as possible.
If Dackfaden was any indication, it went immediately to 250.
Yeah, if any of these, even
the
commanders in this set, like the new Sylvala, all of the commander playable cards out of these sets go to literally through the ceiling, because after the first couple weeks, no one actually looks at these sets ever again. So, and that brings us to the next card, which is Brambles Sovereign. This card's kind of zany. 2 and 2 green for a 4/4. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may pay 1 and a green. If you do, that creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of that creature. I hadn't really fully read that card for. That might have been the first time I fully read it. I just assumed it was only
I
you.
saw a joke comment that if they cast Phage, you can give them a copy of it and they die.
If you play Phage, and Phage is too good in your cube, Brambles Sovereign. Just saying. So Brambles Sovereign might have the most boring body of all time.
That's probably one of the two reasons why I don't think I like it that much. It's just a 4-mana 4/4, and I feel like I've been trained to expect more. So my 4-drops.
Recently, we started playing Ripjaw Raptor.
Yeah.
Right. Ripjaw Raptor, similar-ish in a sense. It's a 4-mana 4-power guy. Ripjaw Raptor has better, a little better body. Neither of them really do anything the turn you play them, but this card's ceiling is significantly higher. It's obviously it's very medium on curve. It's excellent the later the game goes on. Even if, let's say, you only have 1s and 2s left in your hand afterwards, you still get the copy. You just have to spend your extra mana, which green is known to have, on those extra 1s and 2s. Or if you have, get some Titans, and then you get some backup Titans. So I think this card creates a lot of big stories. The upfront body is extremely...
it's a better late game card.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to be left.
You throw this on curve, you don't probably want to be cloning your 2-drops.
So I guess this is a comparison, a really loose comparison. Let's say Master of the Wild Hunt. Another 4-power creature, body ultra sucks, has 3 toughness. That's not the number you want. Dies everything. That card just generates value on its own. You don't have to do anything to it. It'll eventually just take over the game if your opponent doesn't deal with this D3. This card also generates a lot of value. Needs a little more help. Which one do you like more?
I like this one more just because of the 4 toughness. I played Master for several years, and every time I cast it, you play it, and it'll be 3 toughness, and you might have to block because you're playing a slower green deck, and it just automatically
One out of every 10 games, it probably takes over like an okay amount, but...
That's about it, yeah.
So the ceiling on this card is significantly higher. It's definitely more interesting. For some reason, you can give your opponent copies of their creatures. I don't know why, but you can. If they Friction Rager, and they're at 2.
They Mind Slaver you. They can, I don't know how flash in a guy.
So, Brambles Sovereign, when I first read the card, I wasn't impressed at all, mostly because the 4-mana 4/4 body is not good. But the ceiling on this card is pretty cool. I think my queue was a tad bigger. I'd probably give her a whirl. I know Drew's a little 90 cards higher than I, so maybe he'll...
It's on my short list still. I haven't decided one way or another.
Yeah, but, at least that's good. That's good for Drew. He doesn't try anything.
Might pick it up because, it'll disappear.
I didn't even realize this card's a mythic. Why is this card a mythic?
All the cards you looked at are mythic so far.
All the cards. So in the long list of Morphling effects, so now we have Morphling, and then we got Torchling.
Greater Morphling? Does that one count?
Then we got Thornling, with the worst art in 20 whatever year that was printed. And now Brightling. So the one we don't have left, we don't have a black one. We don't have a Blackwing. Right?
That might be too hot button topic for 2018.
So Brightling, 1 white, 3/3 shapeshifter. Various effects. Pay a white, gains Vigilance end turn. Or pay a white, gains life until end turn. Or pay a white, returns to its owner's hand. Or pay a generic, gets +1/-1, or -1/+1 until end turn. Very a la Morphling. 3 weird effects, and then the power swappy effects. That was a lot better in the Morphling era when damage stacked.
Very medium.
My biggest question for this card is, what did they design it for? We're going to push this 3-mana white creature mythic in this multiplayer set? And, obviously these cards are legal in Commander and Vintage. This isn't a Commander card. What is it, a Legacy card?
I want real to work. I don't get it. I can't justify what it was designed for. I think I'm going to try it because I have room.
I really wanted to get First Strike. Yeah, I'll trade Lifelink for First Strike, but does First Strike make it... I don't want to say too good, because you can just jam your guy in there and then give it infinite power, so you literally run through anything. Or block super efficiently, but is that too good? We're pushing this 3-mana white mythic for nothing. I don't know. I guess I'm going to try this card with medium expectations.
Yeah, it's on my list right now of my only swap currently. I think I'm going to try and jam it as an aggro guy and just see what happens.
Yeah, it's a weird card. I don't know, white 3s kind of need the help, but it costing double white doesn't really help that much. So in this set, there's a sub-theme of tribal warrior stuff. It's kind of weird. Mindblade Render is... Mindblade? I think I wrote down Mindblaze. No, I wrote down Mindblade. Mindblade Render is probably the best standalone one. So Mindblade Render is 1 in a black for a 1/3 Azra Warrior, and I've never read Azra, didn't read that part before. Whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, it is combat damage. If any of that damage was dealt by a warrior, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So it's a 2-mana 1/3 that when it hits them, that you lose life and draw a card.
Ideally.
Yeah. So there are a handful of warriors in Cube, I guess, staples, if you will, that are commonly played, like Bloodsoul Champion.
I think there's another 1-drop in there.
Probably. There's a bunch of the Keldor Marauders.
Goblin. There's a few in red. I think there's more in red than black.
There's a bunch in red. Like Goblin. What's his name? I'm blanking on him for some. Rabblemaster. He doesn't really need the help, but he's a warrior.
This card makes Rabblemaster better.
You have Glory Bound in his shit. It's a warrior. So there's a 4/4, 4 life and a card. Actually makes it 3 life. Anyway, this card's just like a very average black creature that in a color that needs average creatures. This card's probably fine. I might try it.
It's a rare.
It's not a mythic. Next card's a mythic. What do you think of this thing?
Kind of boring.
It's extremely boring. Seems right up your alley.
It's a 1/3.
There will be no secrets between us, like it or not.
Play for Text is bad.
Najila, the Blade Blossom, is their next warrior. So it's 2 in a red for a 3/2 human warrior. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. Pay 1 of every color. Untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste. Why would they gain haste if they're attacking?
Because the 1/1 doesn't gain haste when it comes into play.
Oh my god. That's why I have drawn here. They gain that until end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat.
That text is irrelevant.
So that text is irrelevant. 3 mana 3/2. When it attacks, it's going to make 1 month attacking. In most cases. This one, unfortunately, unlike the Mindblade Renderer, is not very good.
Kind of started up here when I read it originally, and we're kind of kept falling. Mostly because it compares directly to Handwear Garrison. And I think your token maker probably wants 3 toughness.
Yeah, that and like you can even compare it to like Pia Nalar or even like Thopter Engineer. Like
I do run that card.
I know you do, but I like Pia Nalar infinitely better. Handwear Garrison much more. Thopter Engineer, this card. So yeah, I don't know. It made me feel a little deeper on warriors than the average. This card's kind of neat because you get to play it if you have any existing warriors to get the immediate benefit, obviously, but not us, unfortunately. Which brings us to the most. Is this the most talked about card, or was Redirector the most talked about card? This has to have the most
think
comments.
the Planeswalker might be the most
really
talked about card. And then
that's too bad.
Then this thing,
Spellseeker. 2 in a blue, 1/1 human wizard, not a warrior. When Spellseeker enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 2 or less. Put that card in your hand. Shuffle your library. Very important. Gotta play with the rules.
it's a recruiter
It is a recruiter.
for spells.
Everyone seems to be really into recruiters nowadays.
I don't like
Recruiter for
recruiters.
spells. I don't like recruiters either. By as a what's the word I'm looking for here?
Biased?
We're biased. A little bit biased towards recruiters. Spellseeker is a blue recruiter that isn't. I guess was it Imperial recruiter? No, Imperial. The other recruiter is 1 white. It doesn't matter.
Recruiter the guard.
This card is cool art. It's not a mythic. The card's cool. The cards look pretty powerful, but like I think we were talking about it the other day. So this card is neat. It can find you, in theory, utility spells. The idea is it can find you a counter spell, it can find you a draw spell, it can find you a removal spell. It kind of does a bit of everything. But you kind of want it to probably do something specific most of the time. So the finding a counter spell, like, if you're playing it to like just find a counter spell in your deck, it's not very good.
Just play another counter spell.
Just play another counter spell. If you're playing it just to find another removal spell, again, it isn't blue, so it's not very good. You need to have a pretty good, healthy amount of targets. Just being able to find a counter spell, a series of counter spells, and maybe a fatal push probably doesn't make this card good enough. It's 3 mana 1/1.
So a lot of people have been saying that it helps your deck consistency. Like when I tutor, I want to find something broken or do something repeatable, like in a combo deck. And
Like, well, how about Seagate Oracle? Seagate Oracle's a 3 mana 1/3.
Yeah,
that card blocks real well.
this doesn't block.
So yeah, Seagate Oracle versus Spellseeker. Seagate Oracle's card quality is significantly lower, but still does what you want to do. Spellseeker spell quality is significantly higher. Terrible body. Terrible. So I think where this card's going to shine more often is actually in powered environments. I know you mentioned that too on
find your balance
via Reddit, balance, time walk, recall,
mind twist,
twist. It finds like those kind of powerful cards. Like those are obviously the great silver bullets. In a world where you're fighting literally Counterspell and Doomblade, it's a little worse. It's still an interesting effect, and I know we've talked about blue creatures a lot recently. That I know actually some people brought up like, you know, oh, my blue 3s are a little loose.
They are a
little weak. But you know what? Blue creatures are like, you know how like for most curves for you know, you have like 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, 6 drops. Blues is like there's like a bunch of there's like none over here and then some more over here. So I guess when I'm looking at blue creatures in my cube, I'm not trying to look to fill a curve because like there's just not enough good ones. So I just play the good ones. There's like
the best ones. Yeah.
None or one at 1 mana, a bunch at 2, some at 3, almost there's a couple at 4, Muldrifter at 5. You know, there's a lot of peaks and valleys in the mana curve. So I wouldn't play it if I'm just trying to fill a hole, if that's my reasoning. But again, the card is a huge effect. It is really cool. I'm sure it's a blast to play. I know my immediate reaction is pass. But if I was playing power, that's probably different. I'm probably in. It's way suited for play power.
I wrote it down. Probably going to lean on the no, but it's one of the 3 notables. So.
Yeah, it is one of the cool cards in the set. Sure. It's one of the cooler ones. And that brings us to part of my least favorite thing about this set, and that's the artwork. I know the set's got a lot of flack about it. People saying it's a very Hearthstone-esque, and you know what? They're right.
It's very CG. Yeah.
Will and his sister, which I can't remember her name.
What if they're married?
That would maybe make sense. You know what? Scratch that. Will and the other and his partner both share similar art styles. They also share a lot of art styles on other cards, and I don't like any of them. So Will Kenrith is a 6-mana Planeswalker, 4 blue, 4 starting loyalty, legendary Planeswalker Will, +2 until until your next turn. Up to 2 target creatures each have their base power and toughness. Each have base power toughness 0.
You know when I read off cards
and lose
really
all
poorly?
abilities.
This is you now.
Well, I just stumbled a bit. -2. Target player draws 2 cards until your next turn. Instant sorcery and planeswalker spells that player cast cost 2 less to cast. And then -8. Target player gets an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell. Copy it. You may choose new targets for that copy. Partner with Rowan Kenrith. I guess that's the lady.
The red one.
The red one. That one's not good.
It could also be your commander.
It could be. This card's real medium. Like really, that's not true. The abilities are fine.
Yeah, the +2 is actually pretty strong, probably.
Yeah, it just costs 6. But blue has a lot of good planeswalkers. They have like let's say the Jace Mind Sculptor, Jace Bellerin, Tamio the Moonsage, Mill Jace, Jace Arctic Thought. Like these are all fine cards. Tezzeret if you're playing power, obviously.
Tamio.
I think Will's fine, but he's just not. He doesn't break into the top 3. I think.
Well, we could say the obvious thing. It's good within the Storm deck.
Well, it's yeah, you know, that's cool in that deck. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's the strongest part, the most broken part of this card, and everything else is like Architect of the Thought.
Is this card like, let's say we're trying to put a Planeswalker into let's say a powered Storm environment. Is this card better than the 6-mana Planeswalker Teferi? So like draws you a card and scries or something, and then it untaps for permanence.
This goes in a different,
I guess,
color slot.
But Will Kenrith is a powerful card, but it costs 6, and color doesn't really need it. I actually don't even know what color needs more Planeswalkers at this point, to be honest. But it doesn't really break into to where I want it to be. But it's not super far. You know, if you want to play a fairly powered down environment, Will Kenrith is probably better. But then that being said, if you're playing low power, you probably shouldn't be playing Planeswalkers.
It's another mythic.
It is another mythic.
Got a bunch of mythics and 2 rares.
We talk about the implications of partner and cube, but we haven't figured it out ourselves, so we're just not talking about it. So, unfortunately, Battlebond doesn't have... I'm sure there are a few other cards that may be worthy of talking about, but that was the 7 cards that we found that were fairly obvious. I know Battlebond, outside of just these cards, there's a couple first-time foils or easier to get foils, like Mr. Confluence is now pack foil instead of judge foil. You can get Impulse pack foil instead of from the vault, or
It's that 20 version, right?
Yeah, from the vault. Or there was the original Impulse art foil was like, not F&M, it was something else.
I think it was an F&M. It was old F&M.
Lantax has judge art. You can get pack foil now. It's having to buy the judge one, which almost doesn't exist. And True Nemesis. That card's going to be a lot of money.
Buy it right away?
Apparently, you buy
Before
those cards
spikes.
right away. If this follows any pattern that Conspiracy follows, you buy them immediately.
Or you'll never get it.
Yeah, or that too. So, yeah, that's it. I guess it's Battlebond. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot to it. This episode was not that long. It felt long to us. It interrupted a lot with outside noises. But, it's the name of the game. So we'd like to thank the Manabase. The Manabase is the content producer that lets us make this great quality content every 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks. Next up is something. But after that
M19.
is M19, which is coming pretty soon. It comes up really fast.
Yeah.
There might be an episode in between there. It depends if it's 3 weeks away. We'll find out. What do you... I don't know how I feel about Battlebond. Set's zany. Art's bad.
I'm just never a fan of the supplemental sets that have zany mechanics or draft altering.
I'm fine for Conspiracy. This is fine too. Probably it's not my cup of tea. That's all. Anyway, that's Battlebond.
I'm a curmudgeon. So.
That's Drew. That's me. Have a good night.